There are nights at Hogwarts when the castle seems to breathe more deeply than usual, when the stone corridors grow softer, the staircases pause in their wandering, and the air itself feels like it is listening. This is one of those nights, a night when nothing feels urgent, and yet something quietly important is about to unfold. Our story begins long after the final echoes of dinner have faded from the great hall. The torches burn lower now, their flames steady and calm, casting warm pools of light along the walls. Somewhere in the distance, a suit of armor settles with a contented clink, as if getting comfortable for sleep. The enchanted ceiling above reflects a sky brushed with slow-moving clouds and gentle stars drifting without hurry. Outside, the grounds of Hogwarts lie wrapped in mist. The lake is still, reflecting moonlight like a sheet of glass. Even the whomping willow rests quietly, its branches no longer restless, as though it too has decided that tonight is meant for rest. Inside the castle, the corridors glow softly. Portraits doze in their frames, whispers exchanged only between old friends. The staircases feel unusually cooperative, lingering in place longer than they normally would, as if aware that movement might disturb the peace. And yet, beneath this calm, something subtle is happening. Not loudly, not dramatically, the castle is rearranging itself, not out of danger or alarm, but out of care. Hogwarts has always shifted and changed, hallways stretching, rooms appearing where none were before. But tonight, the movement is different. It is slower, gentler, guided by something older than magic lessons or hidden defenses. Tonight, the castle is adjusting itself the way a blanket is pulled higher on a sleeping child. If you listen closely, you might hear it, a soft hum in the stone, a quiet sigh of ancient walls settling into a new pattern. Doors that once led to familiar places now open onto peaceful detours. Corridors curve where they used to run straight, inviting wandering instead of haste. This is not a night for rushing, it is a night for noticing. As you settle into this story, allow yourself to walk these halls slowly. Let the quiet follow you. There is nothing you need to solve, nothing you need to protect. This is a gentle journey, one shaped by curiosity, comfort, and the quiet wisdom of a castle that knows exactly when its students need rest. If you enjoy drifting through Hogwarts in moments like this, you're always welcome to stay a little longer, listening, relaxing, and returning whenever you need calm. Now, take a slow breath. The torches flicker softly. The castle has begun to move, and somewhere within its ancient walls, a peaceful night is just beginning. Harry Potter notices the change first, not because something looks different, but because something feels different. The familiar rhythm of Hogwarts, the one he has come to recognize even in his sleep, has softened. The castle feels quieter tonight, not empty, but attentive, as though it has turned its full awareness inward. He walks slowly along a corridor on the 7th floor, his footsteps light against the stone. Harry's shoulders are relaxed in a way they rarely are during the day. There is no rush pulling at him, no expectation waiting around the next corner. Nights like this allow him to simply exist within the castle rather than move through it. Hermione Granger walks beside him, her hands clasped behind her back. She is not reading, not consulting notes, not mentally organizing facts. Instead, she is watching, really watching, the way torchlight glides along the walls, the way shadows stretch and settle. There is a calm curiosity in her expression, the kind that doesn't demand answers right away. Doesn't it feel like the castle's listening? She asks quietly. Harry nods. He doesn't need to explain. Hermione has always understood the difference between noise and presence. Ron Weasley trails just behind them, stifling a yawn as he walks. His hair is a little more rumpled than usual, his jumper loose and comfortable. Ron has an instinct for when things don't require effort, and tonight he seems perfectly content to follow wherever the corridor leads. Best time Hogwarts ever has, Ron murmurs, when it stops showing off. They share a small smile, the kind that comes from long familiarity. Years of shared corridors, shared meals, shared moments of worry and relief have shaped their companionship into something steady and warm. There is no need for constant conversation. Their silence feels companionable, safe. As they turn a corner, the corridor stretches longer than Harry remembers. Not alarmingly so, just enough to be noticeable. He slows slightly, curiosity stirring without tension. Hermione notices too. That turn used to be closer, she says, not concerned. Didn't it? Ron shrugs gently. Castle's allowed to stretch, isn't it? Harry feels a quiet amusement rise in him. Hogwarts has always been unpredictable, but tonight its changes feel thoughtful rather than mischievous. The walls seem warmer, the air softer, even the portraits they pass seem drowsier than usual, offering slow nods instead of commentary. Harry glances at his friends, feeling a swell of gratitude that has nothing to do with danger or triumph. These are the moments he treasures most, the ones without an audience, without expectation. Just three friends wandering through a place that feels like home. They pause near a tall window overlooking the grounds. Moonlight spills across the floor, silver and calm. Outside, the lake rests without ripples. The night feels deep and unbroken. Hermione smiles softly. I think something's about to happen, she says. Ron chuckles quietly, as long as it doesn't involve running. Harry looks down the lengthening corridor, feeling no fear at all, only gentle curiosity. Whatever the castle is doing tonight, it feels kind. And together, unhurried and at ease, they continue walking, ready to follow the castle wherever its quiet rearranging might lead them next. The corridor continues longer than any of them expect, but it doesn't feel wrong. It feels as though Hogwarts has simply decided that tonight, the journey should be slower. The torches along the walls burn with a softer flame, their light pooling like warm honey on the stone, and the air carries a faint scent of old books and sleeping embers, comforting, familiar, and strangely soothing. Harry walks with his hands in his pockets, listening to the quiet. It isn't complete silence. Hogwarts never truly falls silent. There is always something, the faint creak of ancient beams, the soft sigh of wind pressing against a window, the distant murmur of portraits shifting in their frames. But tonight, those sounds seem more carefully placed, like gentle notes in a lullaby. Hermione keeps glancing at the walls, her gaze thoughtful. The castle feels deliberate, she murmurs, not playful, like it's doing something for a reason. Ron lets out a sleepy breath. I'd like the reason to be a warm bed and no surprises. Harry smiles, but he understands Hermione's feeling. Even the staircases earlier had seemed calmer, less likely to spin or drift just to be difficult. It's as if Hogwarts has chosen a quieter mood for itself. They reach a familiar junction, or what should be a familiar junction. Harry expects a suit of armor to be standing at the corner, one that always leans slightly to the left as though listening for gossip, but the corner is empty. The space where the armor should be is only bare stone and torchlight. Ron slows. Oi, that's odd. That bloke's always there. Hermione's eyes narrow slightly, not with suspicion, but with focused attention. It hasn't moved, she says. It's not here. Harry looks around, and that is when he notices it. The corridor is subtly different in small, almost tender ways. A tapestry that usually depicts a wizard chasing a snarling boar is now showing a peaceful woodland scene where, the boar is asleep beneath a tree and the wizard sits nearby reading. The colors are softer, the expressions calmer, as if the fabric itself has decided to be gentler tonight. They keep walking, and the change becomes more noticeable. A narrow corridor that should branch off to the left simply isn't there. Instead, the wall is smooth, uninterrupted stone, warm to the torchlight. Hermione stops and presses her palm lightly against it. This wall used to be a passage, she says quietly. Ron stares. So, Hogwarts has just deleted it? Harry watches Hermione's hand on the stone. The wall doesn't feel like something placed recently. It feels old, settled, like it has always been there. It hasn't deleted it, Hermione whispers, almost to herself. It's rearranged it. As if responding to the word, the torch nearest them flickers once. Not wildly, not dramatically, just a slow dip of flame, like a blink. The shadows shift along the corridor, stretching and folding across the stone. For a brief moment, Harry could swear the corridor ahead is not one corridor, but several layered on top of each other, like overlapping paths waiting to be chosen. Then the flame steadies again, and everything looks normal. Ron rubs his eyes. Did you two see that? Or am I about to fall asleep standing up? Harry nods gently. I saw it. Hermione doesn't look frightened. She looks intrigued in the calmest way, as if she is standing at the edge of a quiet discovery rather than a threat. The castle is moving, she says, but it's doing it softly. They continue forward, and the corridor begins to feel subtly unfamiliar. Not like being lost exactly, more like walking through a dream version of Hogwarts, where everything is almost right, but slightly softened, like a painting after rain. Harry notices that the portraits they pass are different too. Some of the frames are empty, their painted subjects apparently absent. Others show people asleep in their chairs, heads tipped back, expressions peaceful. A few turn their eyes toward the trio and offer slow, quiet nods. No teasing, no commentary, only gentle acknowledgement, as if they too are aware of the castle's mood. Hermione slows near one portrait, where a witch in lavender robes is usually fussing with her hair. Tonight, the witch sits near a candle and knits calmly, her movements slow and careful. She looks up at Hermione and smiles without speaking. Ron whispers, "Why is everyone being nice?" Harry almost laughs, but it comes out softer than usual. Maybe the castle is tired. They round another corner and the air changes. It grows stiller, as if the corridor is holding its breath. The torchlight dims slightly, and the warmth of the stone becomes more noticeable beneath Harry's fingertips when he brushes the wall. It doesn't feel like cold castle stone. It feels warmed by memory. Then they hear it. At first, it is so faint, Harry thinks it might be wind, a soft sliding sound, like fabric moving across stone. But it repeats, slow and gentle, and the rhythm is wrong for wind. It's almost like furniture being moved carefully, without scraping, without disturbance. Hermione tilts her head, listening. Ron's eyes widen, and for once he looks more curious than nervous. The sound comes again, soft, slow, deliberate. Harry turns his head toward it, and as he does, the corridor ahead begins to change in a way that is impossible to ignore. The stones do not explode or crack. There is no violent shift. Instead, the wall to the right seems to loosen, like a book being gently opened. A seam appears, thin as thread, and widens slowly. The torch nearest it brightens, not sharply, but warmly, like it is welcoming something. A doorway forms where there was none, not a hidden door with ornate carvings or heavy locks. This doorway is simple, smooth, almost understated. It looks as though it has always belonged there. Ron swallows. That wasn't there 5 seconds ago. Hermione steps forward, her face lit by that steady torchlight. "It's not hiding," she whispers. "It's inviting." Harry feels it too. The sensation is unmistakable. This is not a trap. This is not something that has been forced open. The doorway has appeared like a gentle thought made visible. They stand before it, and the air beyond it smells faintly of cedarwood and clean parchment. Warm, comforting, like a quiet room that has been waiting. Harry reaches out, not to touch anything, but to steady himself in the moment. As his hand moves forward, the doorway responds with a subtle shift in light. The edges glow softly, as though recognizing intention. Hermione's voice is quiet. "I think the castle is rearranging itself around what it believes we need." Ron looks at her. "And what does it think we need?" Hermione's expression softens. "Maybe quiet. Maybe reassurance." Harry breathes slowly. He thinks of the way the day had felt. Lessons, noise, the press of countless students in corridors, the constant sense that Hogwarts is always moving, always busy. Tonight, the castle feels like it has decided to make space. He steps forward. The moment he crosses the threshold, the corridor behind him seems to fade in importance, not vanish, just soften, as if the castle is closing a book gently behind him. The room beyond the doorway is not large. It is a narrow passage at first, sloping down slightly, lit by a warm glow that seems to come from within the stone itself. Ron follows with a muttered, "Here we go," but his voice is more sleepy than alarmed. Hermione steps in last, pausing briefly, as if to pay respect to the doorway itself. Behind them, the doorway closes, not with a click, not with a slam, but with a slow, settling sound, like a blanket being smoothed over a bed. The torchlight remains steady. Nothing feels trapped, nothing feels wrong. The passage is quiet and gentle. The walls curve slightly, guiding them forward with a calm certainty. Harry notices faint patterns in the stone, softly etched lines that resemble maps, but not of places. More like pathways of feeling, loops, spirals, slow bends that suggest wandering rather than destination. As they walk, Harry hears something else now, a low hum beneath the stone, almost like distant music. It isn't a tune he can recognize. It's more like harmony without melody, a steady vibration that feels soothing in his chest. Ron rubs his arms, though not from cold. "This place feels warm." Hermione nods. "It's like the castle is holding us." They continue downward, and then the passage opens into a small chamber. The ceiling is low and arched, and the walls are lined with shelves. Not bookshelves, but shelves holding ordinary objects. A scarf neatly folded, a battered chess piece, a quill, a small tin of biscuits, a cracked teacup. Each object is faintly lit, as though the light is not on them, but within them. Harry stops, drawn toward the teacup. It is plain, chipped along the rim, yet it radiates a quiet comfort, like a memory of warmth held between two hands. Hermione looks around slowly, her eyes shining with recognition. "These are not treasures," she says. "They're comforts." Ron's voice is barely a whisper. "Why would Hogwarts keep biscuits?" Harry smiles softly, because somehow that is exactly what makes this feel safe. Hogwarts rearranging itself, not to hide something powerful, but to reveal something gentle. Then the hum beneath the stone deepens, and the objects on the shelves brighten slightly, as if responding to their presence. The light doesn't flare, it simply grows warmer, like a hearth being fed quietly. Harry feels a subtle tug, an invitation deeper still. Hermione steps closer to the far wall, where a faint seam glows like moonlight through mist. "There's more," she whispers. "This isn't the end, it's the beginning." Ron exhales slowly, surrendering to the calm. "All right then," he murmurs, "lead on, Hogwarts." And as they stand together in that small chamber of quiet comforts, beneath corridors that are shifting like dreams, Harry realizes the first twist is not that the castle is rearranging itself. The first twist is that it is doing so with gentleness, as though Hogwarts has chosen, for one sleepy night, to become less of a maze and more of a lullaby. The chamber of quiet comforts does not rush them onward. It seems content to let them stand among its shelves for a while, breathing in the warmth, absorbing the sense of care that hums softly through the stone. Harry feels as though the castle has drawn them into a pause, a held moment between movements, like the space between one breath and the next. The hum beneath their feet changes almost imperceptibly. It does not grow louder. Instead, it slows. Hermione notices first. She straightens slightly, her head tilting as if listening to something just below hearing. "It's changing rhythm," she whispers, like it's settling into something new. Ron folds his arms loosely, glancing around. "I'm fine with whatever it's settling into, as long as it doesn't involve staircases dropping out from under us." Harry smiles faintly, but his attention is drawn to the objects on the shelves. One by one, they begin to respond, not moving, not glowing brighter, but deepening in presence. The scarf seems softer, the chess piece seems heavier, the teacup feels warmer in the air, though no steam rises from it. Then, gently, something shifts. The far wall of the chamber does not open this time. It thins, just as before. Stone becomes translucent, not disappearing, but becoming something like fog caught in shape. Through it, another space reveals itself. This one is wider, longer, and filled with a soft golden light that seems to drift rather than shine. Harry feels the familiar pull of recognition again, though he cannot yet name why. Ron squints. "Is that a corridor?" Hermione steps closer, careful, respectful. "Not exactly," she says. "It feels more like a layer." The translucent stone clarifies, and the space beyond comes into focus. It is unmistakably Hogwarts, but not the Hogwarts they know. The corridor beyond is broader, its stone smoother, its ceiling lower. Torches line the walls, but their flames are steadier, quieter. There are no portraits here, no suits of armor. The air feels newer, yet older at the same time. Figures move within the corridor. Students, they pass through the space calmly, dressed in robes of older styles, their footsteps unhurried. Some walk alone, some in pairs, some in small groups. They are not talking loudly. They are not rushing. They move as though the night itself has asked them to slow. Harry's breath catches, not in fear, but in awe. "We're not supposed to be seeing this," Ron murmurs. Hermione shakes her head slowly. "We're not seeing it," she says. "We're being shown." The scene shifts without warning, but without shock. The corridor remains, but the students change. Their robes shift subtly in color and cut. Hairstyles change. Ages pass like a tide moving across sand. Hogwarts across time. Harry feels something pressed gently behind his eyes. Not tears, but emotion rising quietly. The castle is not showing them great moments. No battles, no ceremonies, no triumphs. It is showing them ordinary nights. Students pausing by windows. Someone sitting on the floor with their back against the wall, staring at nothing in particular. Two friends walking in silence, shoulders almost touching. A lone figure standing still, breathing, letting the night hold them. Hermione's voice trembles just slightly, though she remains calm. "These are the moments that don't make it into books." Ron swallows. "They should," as if in answer. The light deepens. The corridor beyond stretches and new details emerge. Alcoves appear, similar to the ones they passed earlier, but these are filled not with objects, only impressions. a sense of laughter once shared, relief after a difficult day, comfort found where none was expected. Harry realizes then what this second twist truly is. The castle is not merely rearranging its spaces, it is rearranging its memories, not rewriting them, not changing them, but gathering them gently, carefully, bringing them closer together so they can rest. The translucent wall ripples softly, and the scene changes again. Now they see the Great Hall, but empty, just as it had been earlier tonight. Students drift in, sit briefly, then leave. Tables appear, disappear. Candles rise, lower, fade. Beneath it all, faint lines of light pulse through the stone floor, the forgotten passages, the quiet chambers, the places that have always existed just beneath awareness. Hermione exhales slowly. The castle isn't moving randomly, she says. It's tidying. Ron lets out a soft, incredulous laugh. Hogwarts, he murmurs, cleaning up after everyone's gone to bed. Harry feels warmth spread through his chest. The idea feels right. The castle is not restless tonight. It is caring for itself and for those within it. The translucent wall begins to fade, but before it does, one final scene forms. A much smaller corridor, narrower, dimly lit. A student stands alone there, indistinct, their features softened by time. They are not crying, not frightened, just tired. The student leans back against the stone, closes their eyes, and breathes. The walls around them glow faintly. The student straightens, calmer, steadier, and walks on. The image dissolves. The wall returns to stone. The chamber is quiet again, its shelves steady, its warmth unchanged, but something has shifted within the trio. Ron clears his throat softly. So, Hogwarts has been doing this the whole time? Hermione nods. We just don't usually notice. Tonight, it decided we should. Harry feels a deep sense of gratitude, not because he has been chosen, but because he has been allowed to understand. The castle does not rearrange itself for heroes alone. It rearranges itself for anyone who needs space to rest. Then the hum beneath the stone changes once more, slightly brighter now, as though the castle has reached the end of one thought and is ready to begin another. A new seam appears along the floor, glowing softly, leading away from the chamber in a direction none of them recognize. The shelves dim slightly, their purpose fulfilled for now. Hermione looks toward the new path, her expression peaceful. This is the next part, she says, not deeper, just onward. Ron nods, already relaxed. Figures, wouldn't want us lingering too long. Harry takes one last look at the quiet objects, the scarf, the teacup, the chess piece, and understands they are not being left behind. They remain here, ready for others, for other nights. As they step onto the new path, the chamber settles behind them. The hum softens. The shelves fade into stillness. The second magical event is complete, not with a revelation of power or danger or destiny, but with understanding. Hogwarts is not a castle that rearranges itself to confuse. It rearranges itself to comfort, and on this slow, sleepy night, it has chosen to gather its quietest moments, draw them closer, and make space so that no one who walks its halls ever truly walks alone. The new path unfurls ahead of them with a calm certainty, like a thought that knows where it is going but does not hurry to arrive. The stone beneath their feet is smooth and warm, and the soft glow that guides them seems to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. It is not bright enough to dazzle, nor dim enough to confuse. It is simply enough. Harry walks in the center, his pace unforced, his breathing slow. The castle feels closer now, not looming, not watching, but aware. He senses it the way one senses a familiar presence in a quiet room. There is comfort in knowing it is there, even if it does not speak. Hermione drifts slightly to one side, her fingers brushing the wall with a reverence that suggests listening through touch. The stone responds subtly, the warmth deepening for a moment beneath her hand. Ron walks a step behind, his usual restlessness softened into an easy, sleepy rhythm. They pass beneath a low archway, and the sound changes again. It is not a noise so much as a texture, an almost audible hush, like the gentle closing of a book. The air seems to thicken with stillness, and for a moment, the trio slows together without discussing it, instinctively matching the castle's pace. Ahead, the corridor curves and widens, then narrows again, as if Hogwarts is breathing, expanding and contracting in a slow, soothing rhythm. The walls are unadorned here, free of carvings or shelves, and the absence feels intentional. This is a place meant for movement, not reflection. Or perhaps reflection will come later, once the path has had time to ask its quiet questions. Ron breaks the silence softly. Feels like we're walking through a pause. Hermione smiles, her voice barely above a whisper. A pause can be important. Harry nods. He understands. Suspense does not always announce itself with tension. Sometimes it arrives as anticipation, an awareness that something is gently unfolding just beyond immediate understanding. They reach a junction that should not exist. Two corridors branch off, identical in stone and glow, neither marked, neither demanding attention. The air hums faintly between them, steady and calm, as though waiting for consideration rather than action. No one rushes forward. Hermione studies both paths, her gaze thoughtful but untroubled. The castle isn't testing us, she says quietly. It's inviting us to notice. Harry listens inwardly. One path feels like familiarity, comfort drawn from memory, echoes of places already known. The other feels open and new, not uncertain, but unshaped, like a quiet page waiting for ink. Ron shifts his weight, then chuckles softly. Reckon whichever way we go, it'll work out. Harry feels a gentle agreement rise in his chest. Let's take the quieter one, he says, gesturing to the path that seems to breathe more slowly. The moment he speaks, the hum deepens in approval. The other corridor does not vanish. It simply fades in presence, content to wait. The chosen path brightens slightly, welcoming rather than pulling. As they move forward, the corridor begins to offer small changes, nothing dramatic, just enough to maintain its attention. The ceiling lowers a fraction, encouraging a softer posture. The light warms, inviting closeness. The stone beneath their feet feels more responsive, as if aware of their steps. They pass a series of shallow recesses in the walls, empty but purposeful, like spaces once meant to hold something precious and now content to remain open. Harry senses that the emptiness itself is the point, a reminder that not every space needs filling. The suspense grows gently here, not because of what might appear, but because of what might be felt. The castle is guiding them towards something subtle, and the path seems to be arranging itself in response to their calm. A sound drifts toward them, very faint at first. It is not footsteps, not voices, but the distant echo of movement above. Chairs shifting, a page turning somewhere far away, a door closing softly. The ordinary sounds of Hogwarts settling into night. Hermione pauses, listening. "We're closer to the heart of it," she murmurs. "Closer to what?" Ron asks, though his tone carries curiosity rather than concern. "Closer to where the castle notices itself," she replies. They walk on, and the corridor begins to slope upward, so gently it feels like being guided back toward the surface of thought. The hum beneath the stone softens, spreading out into the walls, becoming less distinct but more encompassing. Harry feels a subtle change within himself, a loosening, a release of tension he had not realized he was carrying. The suspense now is almost complete, like the final moments before understanding arrives. He knows the castle is not leading them toward a spectacle, it is leading them toward clarity. They enter a wider space, not a chamber, but a long, open hall beneath the castle's bones. The ceiling arches overhead, and the light here is diffused, like dawn filtered through clouds. There are no objects, no markings, only space and warmth. As they step inside, the space responds with a slow, resonant hush, as though acknowledging their arrival. The air feels balanced, steady, and profoundly calm. Ron exhales. "I feel like I should whisper," he says, smiling faintly. Hermione nods. "This place listens best when it's quiet." They stand together, letting the hall settle around them. The gentle suspense reaches its peak here, not with tension, but with a sense of readiness. The castle has rearranged itself to bring them to this moment, and the moment asks only for attention. Harry closes his eyes briefly. He feels the stone beneath him, the air around him, the presence of his friends. He feels the castle, not as walls and corridors, but as intention, care, patience. When he opens his eyes, the hall seems unchanged, and yet everything feels clearer. The suspense does not resolve with a reveal or a discovery. It resolves with a feeling of alignment, as though the castle and those within it have found a shared rhythm. Hermione smiles softly. "I think we're almost there," she says. Ron nods, relaxed and content. "Good. I'm ready for whatever there is." Harry looks ahead, knowing that the path will continue, but also knowing that the castle has already given them what they needed. The gentle suspense has done its work, guiding them closer not to a place, but to understanding. And with that calm certainty settling around them like a warm cloak, they take another slow step forward, allowing the night and the castle to carry them gently onward. The wide hall does not ask them to hurry. It seems to breathe with them, expanding slightly as they step forward, then settling again once they pause. The stone beneath their feet holds a steady warmth, not like fire, but like something long familiar, comfort that has learned patience over centuries. Harry is the first to move again, though the choice feels shared rather than his alone. He walks slowly toward the center of the hall, where the light gathers just a little more densely, as if the space itself is curious about him. Each step feels intentional, not because it leads somewhere specific, but because the hall responds to the way he moves, carefully, respectfully, without expectation. Hermione follows close by, her gaze moving across the walls and ceiling, taking in details that seem to reveal themselves only when she stops looking for them. "This place isn't hidden," she says softly. "It's simply overlooked, like a thought you don't notice until everything else goes quiet." Ron drifts to the side, glancing back the way they came. The corridor behind them remains open, unchanged, unhurried. "Nice of it not to trap us," he murmurs. "Makes the choice feel easier." Harry nods. He feels that too. Nothing here is forcing them forward. The castle is offering direction, not demand. As they explore further, the hall subtly reshapes itself, not by moving stone, but by shifting attention. Areas that felt distant draw closer in feeling. Corners soften, the light adjusts, guiding them toward smaller details, a faint pattern in the floor that looks like overlapping footsteps, a curve in the wall worn smooth by hands resting there long ago. Harry kneels briefly, touching the stone. It hums faintly beneath his palm, not with magic meant to impress, but with memory. He senses moments layered gently here, students pausing to breathe, teachers standing quietly after long days, visitors lingering in wonder. Hermione watches him, understanding flickering across her face. "It's choosing to show itself because we're choosing to notice," she says. Ron shifts his weight, smiling sleepily. "So if we'd rushed through, it might have stayed quiet," Hermione replies. They stand again, and the hall offers them something new. 3 subtle paths begin to suggest themselves, not carved or marked, but felt. Each carries a slightly different quality. One feels reflective, steeped in memory. Another feels lighter, almost playful, filled with curiosity. The third feels steady and grounding, like a place meant for rest. Ron notices it at the same time Harry does. "All right," he says gently. "This feels like one of those moments where the castle wants input." Hermione closes her eyes briefly, listening inwardly. "These aren't tests," she says. "They're invitations." Harry considers each path without pressure. The reflective one carries a weight he respects, but senses might ask more than he wants to give tonight. The playful one feels warm, but restless. His gaze settles on the steady path, the one that feels like a pause rather than a push. "I think," he says slowly, "we choose the one that lets the castle rest too." The moment he speaks, the decision settles. The other impressions fade gently, not disappointed, simply complete. The chosen path becomes clearer, not brighter, but more present, as though acknowledging alignment. They walk together along it, and the hall narrows slightly, becoming more intimate. The ceiling lowers just enough to create a feeling of closeness. The hum beneath the stone steadies into a calm rhythm, like a heart at ease. As they move, they notice small changes in themselves. Hermione's shoulders relax further, her thoughts no longer racing ahead. Ron's steps fall into a steady rhythm, his usual fidgeting absent. Harry feels grounded, present in a way that feels rare and precious. The path leads them to a quiet alcove at the far end of the hall. It holds nothing, no objects, no markings, just space, a place to stand, to sit, to be. "This is it," Ron says softly. Not a question, a recognition. They step into the alcove, and the space responds by settling completely. The light evens out, the hum fades into a gentle stillness. The castle feels content, as though it has reached the end of a careful rearrangement. Hermione leans back against the stone wall, her expression peaceful. "Hogwarts doesn't just rearrange hallways," she says. "It rearranges people too, when they let it." Harry rests his hands loosely at his sides, breathing slowly. He understands now that the choices they made were never about direction alone. They were about pace, about listening, about choosing calm over urgency. Ron yawns again, unashamed. "Best kind of magic," he murmurs, "the kind that lets you feel human." They linger there for a while, the alcove holding them gently. There is no rush to leave, no sense that the moment will vanish if they move. The castle has done what it intended to do. It has guided them into stillness, then trusted them to remain there as long as they need. When they finally turn back, the path remains open, not pulling them, simply ready. The choices they made do not close possibilities. They leave them resting, like books returned gently to shelves. As they step away, Harry feels something settle within him, a quiet certainty that this night, this rearranging, will not need to be remembered in detail to matter. Its effect will linger in how he walks, how he pauses, how he listens. The exploration is complete. The choices have been made, not loudly, not dramatically, but with care. And the castle, having guided them here, rests once more, its halls calm, its stones warm, its quiet magic content to wait until it is needed again. The alcove holds them in a stillness so complete it feels almost like time has paused, not stopped, but softened, as though the night itself has leaned in to listen. The stone wall at Harry's back is warm and steady, and the quiet here is different from silence. It is full, it hums gently, not with magic that demands attention, but with something deeper and more enduring. Harry closes his eyes for a moment, and in that darkness behind his lids, he feels the castle more clearly than he ever has before. Not as towers or staircases, not as secrets or surprises, but as intention. When he opens his eyes again, the alcove has not changed, and yet it has. The air seems clearer, as though a veil has been lifted. The light is even and calm, touching everything without casting shadows. Hermione notices it too. She straightens slowly, her expression thoughtful, almost reverent. "This place isn't the end of the rearranging," she says softly. "It's the reason for it." Ron blinks, then nods. "Right. That makes sense somehow, even if I can't explain it." Harry steps forward, drawn toward the center of the alcove. As he moves, the stone floor responds, not glowing, not shifting, but revealing faint patterns that were always there, waiting. Lines curve outward from the place where he stands, spreading gently like ripples in water. They do not move fast. They do not pulse. They simply exist, steady and reassuring. Hermione kneels to examine them, though she does not touch. "These aren't spells," she says quietly. "They're pathways." "Pathways to where?" Ron asks. Hermione looks up, her eyes soft. "To moments." The realization settles slowly, unfolding rather than striking. Harry understands now. The castle did not rearrange itself to confuse or to hide. It did not do so to reveal a grand secret or protect some ancient power. It rearranged itself to gather something that cannot be stored in vaults or books. It gathered moments of rest, moments when students walked the halls late at night, unsure but comforted by the quiet. Moments when worries eased simply because the stone walls were there, steady and unchanging. Moments when people paused, not to think or plan, but to breathe. Harry feels a gentle warmth spread through his chest, not sudden or overwhelming, but deep and anchoring. For so long, Hogwarts has been a place of challenge and growth for him, of danger faced and choices made. But beneath all of that, it has always been something else too. A place that holds you when you don't know how to hold yourself. The lines in the stone grow clearer now, not brighter. Harry can sense where they lead, not to physical locations, but to feelings. A corridor that once lengthened itself for someone who needed more time alone. A staircase that paused so a student could gather courage. A room that appeared simply because someone needed somewhere to sit and feel safe. Ron lets out a quiet breath. So the castle rearranges itself when it senses imbalance, Hermione finishes. Too much noise, too much strain, too many people carrying more than they should. Harry thinks of tonight, the softened corridors, the missing passages, the way doors opened into calm rather than confusion. Hogwarts wasn't changing randomly. It was caring for its inhabitants. And tonight, it had decided to care for itself as well. The alcove responds to their understanding. The faint hum beneath the stone deepens once, then settles into complete stillness. The lines in the floor soften, fading back into the stone, not gone, just resting. This is the heart of the rearranging, not movement, not magic, but balance. Hermione rises slowly. "That's why it doesn't do this often," she says. "Only when it's needed, only when the castle senses it's time to realign." Ron smiles faintly, rubbing his arms. "Well, I feel realigned." Harry laughs softly, the sound gentle and unforced. He feels it too, a sense of being exactly where he needs to be, with no pressure to become anything else in this moment. The climactic insight arrives not like lightning, but like dawn. Hogwarts is not alive in the way people often imagine. It does not think or feel as a person does, but it remembers, and in remembering, it responds. It rearranges itself not to impress, but to protect the quiet threads that keep people whole. Harry stands in the center of the alcove one last time, letting the understanding settle fully. He knows this knowledge won't sit loudly in his mind tomorrow. It doesn't need to. Its value lies in how it will shape the way he walks the castle from now on, slower, more aware, more trusting of stillness. Hermione meets his gaze and smiles. No explanation needed. Ron stretches lightly. Reckon that's the castle's way of saying we're done for the night. Harry nods. Yeah, and that everything's all right. The alcove does not close. It does not need to. Its purpose has been fulfilled, not by being used, but by being understood. The castle has rearranged itself not to show them something hidden, but to remind them of something essential. That rest is not absence of magic. It is one of its most powerful forms. And with that truth held gently between them, they turn to leave, calm, grounded, and quietly changed by a night the castle chose to move so they could finally be still. There is no closing of stone, no final shimmer of magic. The space simply allows them to turn away, as if confident that what needed to be understood has already settled where it belongs. As Harry, Hermione, and Ron step back onto the path, the warmth beneath their feet fades into the familiar cool of Hogwarts stone, grounding them gently in the present. The corridor that greets them feels calmer than before, less watchful, less expectant. The light has softened into something closer to moonlight, pale and even, and the hum that once threaded through the walls has quieted into silence. Not an empty silence, but one filled with rest. They walk together without speaking, their footsteps unhurried. The castle no longer rearranges itself around them. It is finished. Doors remain where they are. Corridors stretch as they always have. The night feels settled, content with its work. Harry notices how different and everything feels now. Not changed exactly, but clearer. The worries that often linger at the edges of his thoughts seem distant, like sounds muffled behind thick walls. He feels lighter, as though something unseen has been set down. Hermione walks with her hands relaxed at her sides, her usual alertness softened into quiet reflection. She does not look as though she is thinking through theories or storing details away. Instead, she seems simply present, breathing easily in the calm the castle has restored. Ron yawns openly, not bothering to hide it. If Hogwarts wanted to help us sleep, he murmurs, it's done a brilliant job. Harry smiles, the expression lingering longer than usual. I think that was exactly the idea. The corridor slopes upward gradually, and Harry recognizes the turn ahead. They are returning to familiar territory now, near the staircases, near the paths that lead back to their common room. The sense of being guided fades naturally, replaced by the comforting knowledge of knowing where they are. As they pass a tall window, Harry glances out across the grounds. The mist still curls low over the grass, the lake reflecting the stars in perfect stillness. Everything outside seems to mirror the calm within the castle, as if the night itself has settled into balance. The staircases ahead are still, obedient for once, resting in place. Portraits along the walls doze quietly, their frames dim and peaceful. One old wizard lifts his head just enough to nod at them, then closes his eyes again without a word. Hermione pauses briefly near a tapestry that has returned to its usual design. She touches the edge of the fabric lightly, then lets her hand fall. "It feels good," she says softly, knowing the castle does this without needing to be asked. Ron nods, "Makes it feel less like a place you live in and more like something that looks after you." Harry understands exactly what he means. Hogwarts is not just walls and towers. It is a presence, one that knows when to challenge and when to comfort. They reach the entrance to their common room, and the quiet follows them there, unbroken. The night has deepened, and the world feels ready for rest. As they part ways, there is no need for long goodbyes. A shared glance, a small smile, and the understanding that this night will linger, not as a memory that demands retelling, but as a feeling that will return whenever stillness is needed. Harry steps inside, the door closing softly behind him. Somewhere deep within the castle, the rearranged corridors rest in their rightful places. The quiet chambers settle back into stone. The castle breathes evenly once more, its work complete. And as Hogwarts returns to its familiar shape, it carries with it a lasting calm, one that drifts gently through its halls, through its walls, and into the dreams of those who call it home. The night at Hogwarts grows deeper, softer, as though the castle itself has settled into a comfortable sleep. Corridors rest exactly where they should be now, staircases remain still, and the ancient stones seem to breathe in a slow, even rhythm. Nothing is moving anymore, not because it must not, but because everything is finally at ease. Harry lies back, eyes heavy, thoughts drifting gently. The castle feels close in a comforting way, like a quiet presence keeping watch. There is no need to be alert tonight, no need to listen for footsteps or expect surprises. Hogwarts knows how to hold the night. If you imagine yourself here, you might feel that same calm settling over you now. The worries of the day fade into the background, softened by distance. There is nothing left to solve, nothing left to prove. The world has slowed to a pace that allows rest to come naturally. Somewhere beyond the walls, the stars continue their unhurried journey across the sky. The lake remains still, the grounds are peaceful. Inside the castle, students sleep, portraits dream, and even the walls seem content with their place. The night the castle rearranged itself has passed, not leaving behind questions or mysteries, but a quiet understanding. That rest is important, that calm has its own magic, that sometimes the most meaningful changes happen without sound or spectacle. Let your breathing slow now. Let the warmth of this story linger just a little longer. You are safe here, held by stone and silence, by a place that knows when to be still. There is no rush to wake, no need to think ahead. This moment is enough. As sleep draws closer, imagine the castle watching gently, its towers steady against the sky, its halls calm and kind. Hogwarts remains, just as it always has, ready to challenge, ready to teach, but also ready to protect your rest. And when morning eventually comes, the castle will greet it quietly, carrying the calm of this night forward. For now, though, let yourself drift. The torches are low, the corridors are quiet, the castle is at peace, and so are you,